Maverick News presents The Rick Walker Show. Defrag your mind.
Good evening, Maverick family. Good evening, new viewers. Welcome, everyone, wherever you may be. Lots to talk about tonight. 3 U.S. troops killed, dozens injured in a drone attack in Jordan. A lot of questions tonight surrounding the situation at the border down in Texas. The standoff between the governor of Texas and the president of the United States and about 26 other states coming to support Texas, Governor Greg Abbott. But how real is the threat? How real is any of it? We'll show you what we know, and we'll open the phones tonight so that you can weigh in on the conversation. And that is kind of the larger question, too, these days. What is real? Because even this situation down in Texas, some of it looks very real. Some of it looks like maybe not quite what it's being made out to be. So we'll discuss it. And there are protests happening all around the world. And again, tonight, it is difficult to know what's real and what isn't, what's accurate, what's being presented in proper context. In fact, we're going to show you tonight images, video. It looks like it's the same stuff with two completely different stories attached to it. And then I guess we'll have to decide for ourselves what to believe. It is pretty unbelievable what's going on out there. It's making me laugh a little bit, but it's actually pretty serious. So anyway, we'll dig into it all, and it is a special broadcast tonight. We're going to open this up largely to you guys so that you can share your views, opinions, your perspectives on everything I just kind of teed up. So stay with me. I'll be right back after this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, let's just lead off with what we know about these 3 U.S. troops killed, dozens injured, 30 injured, in fact, when a drone packed with explosives hit a base near the Syria border, northeast of Jordan, in northeast Jordan, rather. Now, these are the first U.S. deaths in many months of strikes by militant groups that the U.S. says are Iranian-backed since the Israel-Hamas war began October 7th. Still no names released on the victims at this point. The drone hit near a shelter where some troops were sleeping, according to U.S. officials. Some of those who were injured were airlifted to hospital. It is not clear exactly whether the injured troops were members of the Army or other services. President Joe Biden did issue a statement, and he says that the troops were killed by, in his words, radical Iran-backed militant groups operating in Syria and Iraq. He says, again, his words, "We are still gathering the facts of the attack. Today, America's heart is heavy." He goes on to say, last night, 3 U.S. service members were killed and many wounded during an unmanned aerial drone attack on our forces stationed in northeast Jordan near the Syria border. The Islamic resistance in Iraq released a statement Sunday taking credit for the 4 drone attacks on al-Shadadi base in Syria and the al-Rukban and al-Tanf bases at the Syria-Jordan border. The 4th attack was on the Zavulun naval facility in Israel. It is not clear if the Islamic resistance in Iraq is responsible for the deaths of those U.S. troops. This is obviously going to result in more escalation. We now have U.S. military personnel killed, casualties. The word that we're getting from U.S. officials is that there will be a response. The Pentagon is coming up with potential or options, I guess would be the word. They're coming up with options. And I don't think it will be proportional. Everything that I'm hearing and reading tonight from sources and from other media outlets is that U.S. officials will proceed with a strategy of escalation. Their response will be greater than the damage that was inflicted upon. Whether they will strike military targets, infrastructure, I don't know. We don't know at this point. But I don't think there's any question now, given the kind of response we're seeing from media, that the U.S. is going to wrap this up. And I think we're going to see now a strike against Iran. That's my assessment based on the information flowing in here tonight. Because they're making it very clear, Biden is making it clear that in their view, this is because of Iran backing those who struck the U.S. troops. So expect a response in that way. This is an election year, isn't it? The economy sucks, doesn't it? Everything's wrapping up. I think that's enough of that for tonight. Even though it is extremely serious, I think we have to kind of sit back and wait. We could sit here and speculate, but we have another crisis brewing, and that one is down at the Texas-Mexico border. The thing is, though, not really clear how much of a crisis it really is at this point. We've been told there's this giant convoy being organized. Fox News reporting that there were predictions of 700,000 trucks that were going to head to the Texas-Mexico border. We saw Tucker Carlson making a really big deal out of it. InfoWars, Alex Jones did an interview with the guy who's supposed to be the main organizer, also talking about this giant convoy. Last night, we reported here that there's really no evidence to support a prediction of a convoy 700,000 trucks strong. And then we showed you other eyewitness accounts, people on the ground saying, hey, this might even just be, an overblown thing. Tonight we're seeing similar kinds of reports again, more reports like that, saying this almost seems like a hoax, or somebody's playing games. Maybe even the governor of Texas might be playing games with this. I don't know. All I can tell you is I don't see anything going on out there tonight that would indicate there is a massive multinational convoy being organized and making its way, or about to make its way, to the Texas-Mexico border. Now, I know that it's supposed to really kind of take off this week, but to get something of that size going, you need some sort of promotion, awareness. I'm not seeing very much talk about it online at all. Media outlets are really not reporting on it. It's not making any headlines on any media outlets that I'm looking at. And the material that I'm seeing now indicates that a lot of people are becoming kind of skeptical about it. I think there is a convoy that's being put together, but nothing on the scale that was being predicted. And the situation at the border seems to be sort of semi-calm, almost kind of like, well, we have some video here tonight to show you. Again, we showed you this video. I'm going to play this one first again tonight because we had it at the tail end of the broadcast last evening. And this is a guy who went down to the border to show us what's going on. And, he's saying, hey, not what you're being told. So let's take a quick look here. I'll run this again.
No law enforcement whatsoever. Wow. What? Half a mile.
What's going on, guys? I know y'all come to my page because of the comedy, and I just play around on here. And I don't get political very often. Sometimes I have some things to say about things. I live in Texas. I was just in Eagle Pass, and I've got some videos I need to show you guys. Because you're watching the news, whether it's CNN or Fox, you're letting these news media idiots get you riled up against each other. Let me show you some videos that might just calm your ass down and make you turn off the TV. Watch this. All right, so this is the wall, the fence that we put up. And they put up a secondary fence because they opened the gates. There's some armed guards with some pretty serious weaponry. Pretty intimidating, right? Here's your razor wire in between the two bridges that are in the entrances into Mexico and also the entrance to Eagle Pass. There's some Hummers, some more guys, right? We're protecting, we're keeping them out. This is 0.5 miles from that area. 0.5 miles from where they set up their cameras. 0.5 miles from where they have all the people there. And it's right down the road. I left this long to show you just how short of a drive it is for us to get to a point where all that we just saw does not matter, and they're just getting you riled up against each other because it's election time. And right about here is where you're going to see it. What's that? Where are the armed guards? Where are the AR-15s? Where's the razor wire? Where's the gates? That's half a mile from where the media is blowing up that Texas versus the feds, that we're having this big battle. So that was one gate. That was the very first gate that I saw. We drove down a little bit more. There's one. It had a chain on it. So you keep driving down the road. You got Trump's wall doing its job. This one has never even had a gate. So to me, doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, liberal, libertarian. It doesn't matter what you are, and you're posting about this Texas versus the feds, and we could have a civil war. I'm telling you right now, if a civil war breaks out, it's not because there's something good to fight over. It's because it's election time. It is because the news media is corrupt, and you need to turn the TV off. I don't care what news media you watch. Just go down there and look yourself. Go look. The things that they are saying that the feds and Texas are fighting about is a stretch that is not even a mile. How long is the border? They can just walk right over, and those gates keep going and going and going and going. I know you're thinking, well, just two gates. No, they're all open all the gates. It's a whole hoopla over this little bitty section in Eagle Pass in between a bridge and a bridge. Only place that there's guards. So if you can't get in half a mile of our border, you just walk down the road and you go across the border there. All you folks posting about this, you picked a side and you think you're doing the right thing. But all of you need to reevaluate the country you live in and the information that's being given to you. Because I wanted to be on the Republican. I wanted to push on the Republican side. Hell, I'm from Texas. I'm in the middle no matter what usually, but I wanted to lean towards that side. And once I got down there, I was like, nope, I don't know. Believe what you want to believe. But I recorded those videos. No one sent me that. I don't know what else to tell you guys, but turn the TV off.
And I'm seeing assessments from, I guess, freedom fighters, freedom advocates tonight who are issuing warnings saying, folks, stay away from the border. It's dangerous. You're being played. You can make up your own mind. I guess here's recently shot video from JLR Investigates down on the border. We brought you some of that material last night. Again, it doesn't look to me from everything that I've seen today like there's a whole lot of activity going on at the border itself today, but this was captured. This appears to be some sort of human smuggling taking place and shot from a distance, but you can see what appears to be some sort of a migrant drop-off happening. And just 1 second. I think we lost it. Here we go. I think we've got it going here.
Music is
Yeah.
rubbish.
So you're going to see, I guess, a van drive up here. And
Well, we just crossed 133,000 subs. Appreciate that, everyone. Appreciate the support. The JLR Army channel is growing.
okay, so this is going to, as I say, you're going to see a van pull up here. Let me just see if I can cue it up a little bit tighter for you. We've got some other footage as well of a guy showing you what's going on with a razor wire too. And we'll go to the phones here just momentarily. In fact, why don't we get you the razor wire stuff first while this stuff rolls out. And shots, see, now this is kind of a little bit contradictory footage of troops putting up more razor wire and fencing. So, bring you that. And I've also got the response to Biden from the Attorney General in Texas tonight. So this is footage of them, I guess, putting up more barriers. Or so it appears. And here's the migrant exchange taking place. Okay, so I've got the migrant exchange happening here now. And I'll show you that.
Look at this. That's Border Patrol. That's Border Patrol. So Border Patrol does go in. That's Border Patrol. It has green on it. That's a Border Patrol van. So when they do this, this is sometimes a pickup spot, folks. So we'll see if anyone gets marched down or dropped off there for Border Patrol. Look, there's people getting out of that van. I can't tell what's going on.
So I don't think this... Yeah.
There's people getting in that van. They're doing an exchange. Let me see if I can get down here. They're doing an exchange.
So the only information I have is what...
Look, folks, they're doing an exchange.
What
Migrant.
he's saying.
Look.
Whatever that is.
So the van swapped them. Swapped them right there. Yeah. And they're doing that in an area. Look at that. And the van goes. There you go. Drop off the product. Ship them onto the Border Patrol van. And now they're going. And the van's going that way. Look at that. So it is happening at that border entrance right there at the wall. Exchanges are going on. Exchanges are going on, folks. A unmarked van sits there and waits while a Border Patrol van comes. And this is supposed to be on National Guard Texas takeover property. They're supposed to have this whole area taken over. So just east or south of these bridges over here, the bridges where you saw them, people are loaded onto the Border Patrol truck. Now that Now that van will most likely turn left. It will go up the road, most likely to the detention center. Up the road. Wow, there's a group of them. I don't know how many there are. Now they're all going in the van. Man. Let me see if I can get a different angle. Hold on. I'm going to walk over there. I'm going to see if I can get a different angle over here. It's going to be hard because they got that tree there. Yeah, that tree's in the way. Coincidentally, that tree is right there where they're loading them in. Imagine that. Yeah, that van's going to be out of here in a second, as soon as it loads them in. Oh, there it goes. It's leaving. Border Patrol. And there it goes, most likely to the detention center. I think it's 277 north between here and Del Rio, up by the Maverick Airport. There's a huge migrant detention center. They were exchanging people. White van comes there, waits. Border Patrol comes, they unload, white van leaves, Border Patrol stays there in the van, puts people in the van, and now they're going north.
So I caution you, the information being shared there is coming from someone, GLR investigates from a distance. Can't really see faces. We don't really know for certain who those people are. We're making some assumptions there. I don't think that they're unreasonable assumptions at all. I think it appears to be pretty evident what's happening, but it may not be entirely factual because we just don't know. We don't know what was said there. We don't know for sure who those people are. I'm just cautioning you that is raw video shot from a distance with the best assessment that can be made from someone in that position with the knowledge of all the circumstances surrounding the situation as it stands tonight. And how do things stand tonight? Well, we are seeing the governor squaring off with the president, and a lot of U.S. states, 26, I think, in total, throwing their support behind what Texas is doing by, apparently trying to secure the border. Here we go here. Now, here's a letter from the Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton, to the President of the United States. Okay, because there was a deadline set where Texas was supposed to give access to these National Guard troops that Biden, I guess, was going to use or whatever. So I guess Ken Paxton is responding to the president's demands with some demands of his own. So what does this letter say? Well, let's read it together. It goes to actually Jonathan E. Meyer, the General Counsel of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, from Ken Paxton. It says, I have received your second demand letter dated January 23rd, 2024, in which DHS continues to complain about how TMD secured Shelby Park in the city of Eagle Pass, Texas. In a previous response, I explained that your original letter misstates both the facts and the law in demanding that Texas surrender to President Biden's open border policies. Presumably because you have no meaningful response to our letter, your latest letter abandons earlier factual assertions, asserts new ones, and supplies even less of a legal basis for your demand. Once again, I respectfully suggest that any time you might spend suing Texas should be redirected toward enforcing the immigration laws Congress already has on the books. Again, let's start with the facts. As I have already explained, U.S. Border Patrol withdrew from Shelby Park last year and deliberately reduced its ability to respond to medical emergencies in the vicinity. The tragic incident on January 12th, 2024, that you once tried to pin on Texas had already occurred well before your agency's officers arrived at the Shelby Park gate, conspicuously lacking any equipment to perform an emergency rescue. And the supposed memorandum of agreement between U.S. Customs and Border Protection and the city of Eagle Pass from 2015 MOA, was never approved by Texas as required under the state's constitution. Your latest letter disputes none of this. Instead, you now claim Texas has somehow restricted access to land owned by the federal government. Yet your first demand letter acknowledged that Shelby Park is municipal land owned by the city of Eagle Pass, not the United States. Which is it? If the newfound allegation of federal property rights were true, Texas would, of course, remove any obstruction to federal land pursuant to a lawful court order. The state will continue to respect another sovereign's property rights, even though the federal government refuses to do so. See Texas DHS 2023, and it gives some legal document references. And it continues on this page. The state sought a temporary restraining order, blah, 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 blah. After conducting a diligent search in the arbitrarily short period you allotted for this rebuttal, it appears there are serious reasons to question both of your new claims of federal property rights. First, you say the United States acquired fee simple title to certain parcels in the Shelby Park area, but your own map shows that most of the tracts you reference fall outside the perimeter area secured by Texas at Shelby Park. With respect to parcels identified in your maps that are actually in the vicinity of the park, publicly available records suggest the United States does not even purport to own what your latest letter claims. For example, the home-cooked map attached to your letter insinuates that the United States has title to every parcel on the west side of Ryan Street. It goes on. So there's a big dispute over who has jurisdiction over this park, which is an entry point for migrants. And the standoff continues is the bottom line, both physically and legally. And how serious is all of this, man? Well, depends on who you talk to. Depends on what videos you watch. Let me see if I've got this. Let me... I had video here of a guy who has been down at the border as well, sharing it out for us, talking about the razor wire. Saying, it's not as bad as it seems to be. Not at all. But here's Tucker Carlson talking to the guy who's kind of supposed to be at the center of this big convoy that's taken place. One of the leaders, anyway. Let's bring this up. I'll find you the razor wire footage on the other side of this. You know, it's interesting. Tucker Carlson seems to be the guy who's doing the most to kind of lead this along. He's been the I'd say the lead media point on it thus far. Here's his clip.
The state of Texas appears to be on a kind of collision course with the Biden administration, with the federal government over the southern border. Can it be protected, or must the invasion continue? The Supreme Court has weighed in on this to some limited extent, but it hasn't solved the problem or answered the question. So what happens now? Things are moving very quickly, and it seemed like there was no one better to tell us what the future may hold than the Attorney General of the state in question, Ken Paxton, who joins us now. Mr. Attorney General, thank you so much for coming on. So that's the question. Where does this go? It seems like there are two large forces speeding toward each other, no one's swerving. What happens, do you think?
You know, I don't think anybody knows exactly what happened, because we're in uncharted territory where we have a federal government that is largely not just ignored federal law, not just ignored their constitutional role to protect the state and the country. They're actually participating with the cartels and bringing people here as fast as they possibly can. I just don't think we've ever seen anything like this in our country, where we have a federal government not doing their job, but affirmatively working with bad people to do bad things to the country. I don't remember anything like this.
So can I just ask you something? Since you're a law enforcement, you're the chief law enforcement officer of your state, can you assess whether what the Biden administration is doing now is, strictly speaking, criminal? Are they breaking the law in how they're handling the border?
I think they are. I mean, they're taking federal law and dismantling it. He has a constitutional duty to implement what has been put in place by the elected representatives.
Yes.
And he's just not doing that. And he's making up his own rules as we go that allow the cartels to gain a foothold, a really strong foothold in the United States, not just in my state, but really across they're building a network across the country so that they can keep doing this well after Biden's gone.
So just to like the next few days or weeks or months or who knows, the Biden administration has effectively threatened your state and said you've got 24 hours to do something. What are they demanding that you do, and where does this go short term, do you think?
You know, I'm not exactly sure what we're supposed to do. I mean, is it we're supposed to let them help them cut down wire and fences? We weren't ordered to do that by anybody that I know of, and so we have no obligation to help them violate federal law, and we're not going to do it. And I don't think Abbott's going to give in. I certainly don't plan on giving in. So they're pushing us to help them, and we're not going to help them violate federal law. We're going to try to defend our border the best we can with the resources we have. And, you know, my job is to do it in court. Abbott has other resources at his disposal, and I hope he uses every single one of them to stop this.
There's not one power center in this country, the media, the government at all levels and both parties, big business. There's not one power center in the United States that would like to see secure borders. And so, of course, we haven't had secure borders, and now we're being invaded, and no one's really doing anything about it. So it's just a matter of time before citizens who love their country, in many cases who have served their country overseas, decided to get a little more active in protecting their country. And that's why we're about to see the Take Our Border Back convoy. It begins on January 29th. Truckers, bikers, anyone who wants to come and protect the United States and demand that our government secure our southern border is welcome. They'll be driving to Texas, and one of the people who will help them navigate that state is Doc Pete Chambers. Chambers is, true to his title, a physician. He's a former Green Beret. He was recently down in Eagle Pass, Texas, and here's part of what he saw.
Doc Chambers from Eagle Pass, Texas. Today's the 18th of December. We're out here at the point of entry. 5,000 are sitting on the ground right now. It's increasing as we go along. Information that we've received says another 7,000 should be processed through this particular point by morning. Joe and I have been here many times. Last time we were down here, we were in uniform, and now I'm a civilian and in the Army of God. So we'll keep telling truths, and you need to get this video to your legislators and tell them, in the state of Texas particularly, this is out of control.
So not surprisingly, Doc Pete Chambers has been attacked by dying legacy media outlets as a deeply scary person, because your country being invaded is not scary. It's all totally normal. We thought it would be worth talking to Doc Pete Chambers about what he expects to happen with this convoy and his role in it. He joins us now. Dr. Chambers, thank you so much for coming on.
It's great to be here, Tucker.
So what can we expect with this convoy? Can you describe what it is and what its purpose is?
Right. This is a peaceful assembly. This is what we do as Americans. This is how we shed light to a subject. This shedding of the light will result in exposing really what an open border policy looks like.
Yes.
We know we know the problem sets in Texas, but literally I promise you this, that 40 miles north of that border, there will be people that will never have heard of the border problem because they just watch mainstream media.
Yes.
And so this is what that is about.
And so can you tell us the route of the convoy and who you expect to join it?
Right. So right now they're going to be leaving out of on the 29th, Virginia Beach, which is where the 1607 Covenant, the landing, which signified the John Smith landing in 1607, where they planted a cross on the beach and said, "Hey, this is a covenant to this nation, to God." And then they're going to leave from there, and they're going to go down through Florida. They're going to cut across Highway 10 through Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Houston, into Dripping Springs, Texas, where I'll be working out of, and then on to near Eagle Pass. Now, I'm part of the advisory of this, and as I advised, I used to be in that same unit that's down there. That's the unit that has a streamer on it from the Alamo. It's a very historic Texas unit. And so they are down there holding the line. And I know those soldiers. I worked with them. I took care of them as a doctor with Operation Lone Star. They're busy. So the convoy is going to go just a little bit just a little bit to the north, really, in an area about 30 miles away in Quemado, Texas, to a children's camp. A beautiful lady down there who has taken care of orphans and widows. You can't write this stuff in a book. I couldn't make this up. But she was overrun, first of all, by the COVID mandates that said you got to shut down. You can't keep running this shelter, number one. Number two, she was overrun by the numbers of volumes of illegals that were coming through her neighborhood, trying to get into her food pantry. And then number three, the cartels are a significant presence in that area because that is the end point of where they do the end around. So we are looking at the bright, shiny object that is Eagle Pass. That's a bright, shiny object. Look here. The droids that you're not looking for, if you will, are just to the north, right in that location. And so what this is going to do is it's going to bring light to it, because we have to understand that there is a constitution, both state and federal, and that we have to, number one, expose those that argue things in the Hegelian dialectics, if you will, of tort law, and look at the Constitution, which is exactly what this is a focus on. The Constitution, we the people. That's why we the people will be riding along, mama bears, cops, veterans, truckers, and going to that location to bring light. There is nothing nefarious about this. There is, matter of fact, I am suggesting to them that they and they know this, that this is a peaceful demonstration. This is how this will be.
So I'm actually not seeing any talk about this on mainstream media at all tonight. We did have that report from Fox News yesterday, where they made reference to the predictions of 700,000 trucks. And that's not coming from Fox. That's coming from some of the people involved in organizing it. We were told that initially the convoy was being largely organized by people who were involved with that People's Convoy, which was inspired in the USA, that was inspired by the Canadian convoy. But that People's Convoy kind of broke down, turned into, honestly, a bit of a dysfunctional thing in the end. And that doesn't really inspire a lot of confidence. Then we saw one of the people who was the key organizer of the original People's Convoy then issue a statement that we showed you last night that said, no, we're not involved with it at all. So I don't know what's going on there. And I'm not trying to judge here. I'm just telling you everything that all the information. I'm just sharing all the information that I've come across. Now, we do have tonight a statement here from Fresh, Dr. Pete Chambers. Let me Let me get it up here for you. So this is fresh. This is much more recent than what we just saw from Tucker Carlson. And I have it for you here. This coming to us now from Mr. Chambers himself. Here we go.
And one more thing. If you are going down there to, and you
Hang on. I think we've got actually two in split here. So let's start with this one. This is better. Okay, so we'll run these back to back. We've got both of these from him, and this is his. This is what he wants to say to you guys.
Hey, this is Doc Chambers. Low PT this morning, and it feels good. Try not to be old. While running, I decided to share that this ultimately is a failure to communicate between we the people and those that are charged to be the magistrates to interpose for us, we the people, to speak for, to share what is our concerns, what are our concerns, and get those out. I think we're going to be okay on that, because this organic movement that is not being squashed by fear-mongering and by the threats of infiltration like the January 6th stuff, this is not going to happen, because there will be accountability for that, and that's why it's so vitriolic right now. This is a convoy going to the border, not associated with any other convoys, of freedom-loving people who peacefully will assemble and go down and shed light to this subject, the Constitution and the open border policy. So stand with us, understand that's what it is. Drudge Report and all those other crazy reports about the army of God, that's sheer craziness, bro. All right, craziness. Lots of slander, lots of potential for lawsuits. Not me, maybe, I don't know. Depends on what the lawyers tell me. But that's not what this is about. This is about freedom, and this is about courage, and this is about fear-mongering and the lack of communication that's taking place. I believe that this will result in communication, which will be beneficial for all of us to move forward as a nation, as we the people. Race, color, creed, religion, sex, national origin, doesn't really matter.
Okay, we'll get you part 2 of his statement. And again, this is what he wants to say to you. So let me share it with you. Here's Mr. Chambers continuing.
And one more thing. If you are going down there to, and you are in some sort of official capacity, and you're working for some sort of entity that is trying to create chaos and to divide Americans, stop. Okay? You live in the same country with us, bro. All right, you live in the same country as us. So stop. Because this is, as united we stand, divided we fall. You can't divide us anymore. You got to stop doing that, man. This is for you specifically. You know who you are. And you're looking at this and you're going, this guy's lost his damn mind. I haven't lost my mind. What I've lost is trust in the government that I served for a long time downrange, and put a lot of brothers in body bags. So if you just pay attention to what's happened, you'll understand why I am not just sitting on the ranch raising cattle, but I am still standing to protect that Constitution. It's that simple. So this message is for you. Do the same thing. Because if you start going after these people and trying to trap them, you're going to be found out. There's too much momentum on the other side, bro. So just let it go. Just let it go. Stop working for that entity, because they're just going to tear you down. They're going to use you like Kleenex, just like they did to me. We've been used. And it's okay, because we stood for what was right. And we stood for freedom. And we came home. And we hugged our loved ones. And we took care of the ones who lost their family members. That's what we do.
Stand up for what's right. Doc out.
Now, we do have also that video of the guy who went down there to take a look at the razor wire for us all. Let's bring that up here. And, you know, his assessment a little bit different again. Let me just share that with you. This is from Proud Army Brat. Here we go. This is what's happening.
Does this look honestly like this would stop anybody? All you got to do if you're on the other side is walk over here. This is what it's all about right now, is this razor wire. This razor wire is stopping nobody. Look, all you got to do if you're on that side, snip the wire. That's it. This is all it is right here. This is all it is. That's what all this is about. But what it's doing is sending a message. All it's doing is sending a message to the other side saying, hey, we don't care. It's a free-for-all. Come on in. That's all it's sending. That's all it's doing is sending a message. But if you look at how pathetic this really is, all this really is. Easy just to come over here. It's so easy. Show all that. The main concern for me is how there's no water. There's no water in the river at all. I mean, it's easy just to walk over, as you can see. It's a joke. And Governor Abbott, for 3 years, have just been letting people in millions at a time, and now he's making a stand over this. Over this? That's what this is all about? I'm just trying to put it in perspective for people. That's all I'm trying to do. The truth is the truth, no matter how it looks. And that's the truth. Take a look at it one more time. This is what it's about, America, right here. This cheap wire that they can come over here and cut themselves.
So I don't know, man. You want to go down to the border? I just don't know. But here's other video of trucks bringing in more razor wire and fencing. Share that with you. So there is activity down there. And this, of course, flying in the face of what the president has demanded. We shall see where this goes. Some people taking it as far as predicting this is going to erupt into a civil war. This could be a flashpoint. I don't think so. Not this. Can't see it happening. Now, you get a lot of people down there, big mob, big protest, or even not a mob, but just a big protest. Well, that might erupt into something. But is there enough going on here to erupt into or cause a civil war? I doubt it. To me, that seems like it just smacks of sensationalism to me at this point, from what I'm seeing. There's no way they're going to get 700,000 trucks. They do not have enough time. There's not enough organization. They're not getting enough traction on media to get the word out there. You're hearing from Mr. Chambers there on Tucker. He's been on InfoWars. He has a little bit of reach on social media, but I just don't see it expanding far enough or fast enough to get 700,000 trucks. Not to say they're not going to have a convoy. Obviously, they have something going on. I'm not trying to, be negative about it or anything. I'm just trying to give you accuracy. So, and I think honestly, to me, what I'm seeing, it's more of a relief tonight than anything, because I don't want to see a civil war. I don't think we're there. Not with all of this. It's a serious situation, but not that serious yet. Let's take a little break. What we're going to do is I'm going to touch on a few other stories that I think are important tonight. I want to acknowledge and share with you. And then we'll go to the phones so you guys can join in on this conversation. And if you like, we can come back and talk more about this issue tonight.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
And before we get to the other stuff, I am going to make an appeal to you to help the channel. As we go to those phones, it does cost money. It is near the end of the month. We've got bills to pay. If you want to keep those phone lines operating, keep us from going bankrupt, then it would be great if we could get some donations happening. You can support the channel at maverickdonations.com. You can also donate at freedomreporters.com. Would really appreciate the help. What else can I say? It costs money to run this thing, more than people realize. A lot more expensive than the expenses are there in a more substantial way than people know. So certainly could use a little more help this month. We do have these shirts. So if you donate $60 or more, I will send you a Maverick shirt embroidered like that. And they're quite nice. So $60 or more, just make sure you tell me what size you need when you make the donation and provide your address so I know where to ship it, and I'll send along a shirt. $30 or more, I'll send you a t-shirt with the Maverick News logo on the front. And again, tell me what size you need. So we've got those in stock and ready to go. Appreciate it very much. You can also donate through the Rumble Rants, but I don't see at the end who has donated if you donate through the Rumble Rants. So if you want a shirt, you have to do it through freedomreporters.com or maverickdonations.com. And that's the way to do it. So really appreciate the support. We have had some pretty generous folks out there who have supported the program, and you guys are actually pretty awesome. So thank you very much for helping us out here. Okay, let's do this. And then when we come back on the other side of this one, we'll continue with the news of the night before we go to the phones to give you a voice.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Okay, I'm back. So, as we see this convoy protest ramping up down in the U.S., getting ready to head to the Texas border starting tomorrow. However big it might be, I don't know. We're also seeing these protests in Europe and other places. And as I indicated last night, it's been very interesting because it seems like there's a coordinated online campaign of sorts. It seems to have coordination where they're showing videos, sometimes of even Canadian truckers, old footage, I think, of the Canadian convoy. There's the reports that we're getting. People in other countries seeing that stuff to indicate that Canadians are rolling here now. And I've seen also videos showing convoys rolling to make it look like there are convoys rolling to the Texas border right now. Haven't seen that actual. That's not actually the case. There might be some trucks rolling, but not in the numbers that I've seen on these online videos. The point that I'm making is some of these protests in Europe are being portrayed in different ways. So specifically tonight, I've seen footage of these protests in Germany, and these appear to be massive, massive protests. On one side, they're saying it's protests against the government and farm regulations. On the other side, we're being told that it's protests against the populists, the freedom fighters, and the far right. And a lot of it looks to me like it's exactly the same footage, or footage from the same event, if nothing else. So it depends on how it's being portrayed. So here, let me show you. Again, difficult to know what truth is when you see this kind of stuff. So here's this footage. And this is saying in Hamburg, Germany, tens of thousands protest against the far right. This is supposed to be from today. And they said that the rally had to be cut short due to safety concerns because of crowd size. And the wave of protests against the far right is supposed to continue through the weekend. But this is supposed to be today. And again, I mean, and this has received at least 3 million views, this footage. So let me show you. Here we go. So this is supposed to be a protest against the far right in Germany. All right, so we got that. But then when I look over here, I see this, which is, this is supposed to be a no farmers, no food protest, saying that it's a huge crowd gathered to protest the radical globalist government, German manufacturing, agriculture, energy, resource, and economy. Well, the bottom line is this looks honestly like the same protest, just at a little later time in the day to me. I just don't know. Here we go. Let me show you. Could be two different events, even maybe different days. The it depends on how you're looking at it, how you can assess it. And I'm seeing social media posts on people's feeds saying, you know, this is, well, here it is right here. This is supposed to be an anti-fascism protest in Germany against Christine Anderson's AFD party. Is the post. This is actually from a Canadian influencer on Crier Media. I'll show you. This guy's kind of a progressive and turned it into an actual article on this news feed. Massive anti-fascism protests in Germany against Christine Anderson's AFD should scare the SHIT out of Canada's alt-right leader, Pierre Poilievre. All right. And there's this footage again, and then there's that night footage again. And in this, he's saying, this isn't about German farmers. This isn't an anti-vaccine rally. Millions of Germans whose history has been stained at the hands of fascist authoritarianism are responsible for murdering people they vilified in their rise to power. So this is the footage, again, that I just showed you of what is supposed to be the farmers protesting. But here it's being presented to us, the exact same footage, as though it's an anti-fascist protest. Which is it? I mean, it's the same. That is the same footage, and it's being presented to us with polar opposite stories. Over here, it's like the populist far right protesting against the government and the government policies on farming. And the globalists over here, oh no, that's not what they're protesting. They're protesting the far right, which is the people that you said were just protesting. Appropriating the protests. Protest appropriation. I don't know. You believe whatever you want, man. Now here's another photo, and there is like is that an LGBTQS plus flag in the background right over there? That a rainbow flag? Is that what that is? Not sure. A little too far away. And it's, I mean, the different signs. I don't read German, but it says AFD and then something about BLOD, blood, whatever. I don't know. I don't know. And I can tell you, too, I checked this and I'm seeing mainstream media reports also that just seem to contradict what is happening there. The thing is, both things could be true, because you could have a big protest on one side of the street and counter protesters on the other side of the street, making one big crowd, and both sides claiming that this is their protest. I'm not there. I'm like you. I can only assess based on what we're being fed through social media. But there is an example of information being given to us that makes it very difficult to know really what the reality is, what the truth is. I don't know. There's no way for me to know. Probably somewhere in the middle. Now, also, the Mona Lisa. Come on. What is it with these environmentalists? Like, they threw soup on the Mona Lisa, for crying out loud. I've got the footage. Let me show you. What does What does this prove? How does this help in any way? Anything? It doesn't. Here it is. Idiots. That's me editorializing. This is my learned, scholarly, intellectual editorial. Idiots.
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a de plus important?
At the Louvre.
Notre système agricole est malade. Les agriculteurs un Français ne fait pas tous ses repas tous les jours. On va vous demander d'évacuer. On est riposte alimentaire et on demande la mise en place de la sécurité sociale de l'alimentation durable.
So they splattered this thing. It's glass covered. Okay, so the painting itself was not damaged, we're told. Happened around 10 a.m. I can't think of a painting that is more famous and maybe more important to the world than that. And they threw soup on it. Zero respect for anything. No respect. So these two women opened thermoses. They're from and threw soup on it. They're from a group called Riposte, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly. Alimentaire or Food Response is the name of the group. And that glass, I guess, is bulletproof. And it's a damn good thing that they protected it. So these women have been identified as Sasha and Marie Juliette. Sasha is 24. Marie Juliette is 63. I don't have a last name here. They crossed behind that protective wooden railing, and then they stood on both sides of the painting, called for the integration of food into the general social security system. Socialists achieving nothing. They showed it in France. 1 in 3 people skip meals due to lack of means, or that's what they said in a statement that was posted in French. And it goes on, their statement says, and at the same time, 20% of the food produced is thrown away. Our model stigmatizes the most precarious and does not respect our fundamental right to food. How does throwing soup on the Mona Lisa help? Other than to say they got attention. I'm sitting here talking about it, so I guess they got what they wanted in that way, but I don't think it's going to solve the problem with poverty and starvation. And they go on and talk about the environment in their statement, climate change, saying agriculture is responsible for 21% of national greenhouse gas emissions and contributes greatly to the deterioration of our biodiversity and the impoverishment of soils due to the massive use of inputs. That according to that group that they are associated with. Idiots. Also, social media. Some people will do anything for clicks. And now this British skydiver has died after falling from a 29-story tower block in Thailand. The guy's name was Nathy Odinson, and he was trying to jump off, do it like a base jump off this tall building in Thailand. Isn't the first time that he had done it with some other people. He has a social media following, and I guess the whole idea was to make a video so that we get a lot of views. I'll show you his picture. Didn't go as planned. And he is deceased. His parachute failed to deploy. 33 years old. You don't have much time jumping off a 29-story apartment building. He was being filmed by a friend. They did the countdown, jumped. The chute he was holding failed to deploy properly. He landed in a tree and then hit the ground. And I've thought for quite a long time that some of the stuff I see people do is just, it's ridiculous that the risks that people take. I see people, this parkour, they call it, jumping from one tall building to another, doing all kinds of crazy, dangerous things, all for clicks. Used to concern me, like I see, still does. I see kids in parks doing crazy stunts too that they see some of these guys doing. I'm sure you've seen similar kinds of videos of people up on tall buildings or just doing very dangerous, stupid things. There was the one guy, I haven't seen videos from him for a while, but he was doing really dumb stuff like breaking up glass and taking his shirt off and screaming while he would jump and land in it. And then, of course, his back would be all cut up. And I guess that was supposed to be fun. I didn't think it was funny. But people, I guess, would watch it, and he would get a lot of clicks, and I guess that was his income, maybe. It just boggles my mind, the crazy things that people will do. And I didn't want to watch it because I didn't want to encourage him to continue to hurt himself. Maybe that's why I don't get the feeds anymore, because I just simply stopped watching it. Just very, very disturbing stuff. I think you almost have to have a mental illness to do things like that to yourself. Anyway, other conflicting videos here. I won't show them all to you tonight. It's pretty self-evident. I mean, the point is, videos out there being used to sort of manipulate people, and some of them just being, the exact same protests, two totally different stories as to what they're about. In France, these protests are continuing as well. And I have to say, I think that some of this stuff has simply gone beyond what a protest is and has turned into, well, vandalism, maybe even a level of it's gone beyond protest into something that I think is illegal. And I don't think that it's necessarily helpful. I understand people's emotions. It's a strange thing, though, it depends on what side you're on. People will excuse protests for things that they support and then call the exact same types of actions by people they disagree with an act of terrorism. So, depending on what the cause is that's being supported by this protest, if you saw that, and this is a farm protest in France, and you see the the fire there. Or as we showed you last night, there was video of farmers using tractors with a backhoe attached to tear up asphalt on a roadway to disrupt and block traffic going into some municipal centers to disrupt supply chains. That's like vandalism. That to me is too much. Now you're getting into areas where it's no longer a peaceful protest, and I have trouble supporting that kind of thing. Now you've got a real standoff with government, right? And you can see there, it looks like they were burning tires, and they were getting the tires off the roadway, I guess. And you see the damage that it did to the roadway. And I've seen lots of protests. I've been to protests where they've had tires burning. The tearing up of the asphalt, that to me, like, yeah, you can get charged for that. Making a political statement. Have we covered everything off that we really wanted to talk about tonight? I think we're about there. Yeah, I think we're about ready to go to the phones here. So I know a lot of you have been waiting for that. What I do have for you, though, special treat tonight. We have a new chapter in the Maverick Knights semi-animated series. So this is this chapter titled Texas Knights. Let me share it with you here now. I hope you enjoy it, and we'll come back and go to the phones.
Knights in gleaming supersuits of armor, defending America's borders. Once a land known for its promise and freedom, Texas found itself in the midst of an immigration crisis. Thousands of desperate individuals, posing as refugees, flooded the border, overwhelming the system and straining resources. The situation became so dire that the governor decided to erect barriers to protect his state's citizens. However, unbeknownst to the governor and the people, a corrupt president had other plans. This president, driven by his own sinister motives, sent the National Guard to reopen the border, allowing the invaders to pour in unimpeded. It was a plot to weaken the nation from within, disguised as compassion for refugees. Deeply concerned about the truth being buried and determined to save their beloved country, journalist Sir Richard, also known as Maverick Man, took it upon himself to uncover the conspiracy. Sir Richard was not an ordinary journalist, he possessed a secret power. When he donned a special suit of armor, he became a formidable force, capable of superhuman feats. Equipped with his newfound abilities, Maverick Man assembled his team of like-minded super knights, who shared his passion for justice. Sir Leo, a skilled strategist and tactician, joined the cause, along with Sir John, a master of combat and weaponry. And to add an extra layer of protection and loyalty, they were aided by Cosmo the Super Canine Knight, a highly trained and intelligent dog. With their combined abilities, the Maverick Knights set off towards the Texas border, ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As they arrived, chaos ensued. The National Guard, under the president's orders, clashed with local law enforcement, causing confusion and panic among the refugees and citizens alike. Undeterred, the Maverick Knights, backed up with reinforcements from a convoy of freedom fighters, fought valiantly, utilizing their unique skills to protect innocent lives and expose the true intentions of those in power. Sir Richard, armed with his suit of armor, used his super strength and agility to swiftly neutralize threats, while Sir Leo strategized their every move and joined the front line pummeling invaders with his bare fists. Meanwhile, Cosmo the Super Border Collie went to work with Sir John. Armed with an arsenal of high-tech weapons, Sir John held off waves of attackers, providing cover for Cosmo, who fearlessly sniffed out the corrupt individuals within the crowd. Together, they uncovered evidence of the president's plot, capturing it all on camera to ensure the truth would be revealed. As the Maverick Knights fought their way to the heart of the chaos, the corrupt president's machinations were laid bare for the world to see. The nation, shocked and outraged, demanded justice. The governor, once skeptical of the Maverick Knights, now recognized their unwavering dedication to the truth and the safety of the American people. With their mission accomplished, the Maverick Knights became symbols of hope and integrity. Their bravery and determination inspired a nation to stand united against corruption and to protect the values upon which America was built. And so, the Maverick Knights continued their fight, defending America's borders and ensuring that the beacon of freedom would shine brightly for all who sought refuge within its shores. Is this the future? Together we can make it so. Freedom shall reign with truth for all.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Okay, folks. You can call in at 1-833-975-3733, 1-833-975-3733. Call early, call often. Here's the promo to reinforce.
Join the conversation. Call 1-833-975-3733. That's 1-833-975-FREE. Speak up. Speak out. Make your voice heard. Maverick News. Fighting for freedom by defending your right to free speech. Be a Maverick. Join us.
Okay. Let's take our first call of the night. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Yo, Rick.
How are you tonight?
You got the mouth of the South, the man without a plan to master all your disasters.
Sir Leo, welcome back.
That was a pretty funny animated cartoon.
Yeah, I
good
thought
work.
so too.
Very good work, buddy. I think you're in the wrong business. You can make books.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that too.
You're missing the big breaking news right now. In San Francisco, 32 people were eaten alive.
What? What are you talking about?
Yeah. About a half hour ago. Yeah, by a bunch of lions. The Detroit Lions.
Oh.
Breaking news.
I'm like, what the heck is he talking about?
Johnny's not too happy about it. He went with Baltimore. I went with KC in the Lions, and I put $50 down. And the odds are so good, I couldn't say no. It pays $422, right? So looks like my ponies are coming in tonight.
Good for you.
Yeah, very good for me.
You had me scratching my head there for a minute, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah, were you headed to Google trying to find it or what?
I was like, what the is he talking about? But these days, the news is so weird. It was like, that could be the truth, right? I better check it.
Anything goes in San Fran.
That's
Lions?
very true. Yes.
As for the border down in Texas, I don't know what to make of it, Rick. Really, I don't. Hopefully it all ends peacefully. Nobody gets hurt.
I think it will. I don't see, all the hype that was there even yesterday. It seems to have like died down or whatever. If there's a convoy that goes, I just don't see it, being a problem. To me, I think all the hype about it's going to be a civil war, and I can't see it now. I just don't feel that is the case at all.
Well, what people better understand is if a civil war happens and everything shuts down, who's going to run the nuclear reactors and everything else? You shut down government, shut down people's jobs.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's going to run the vitals? You're not going to have people, I can do it. No, you got nuclear physicists. You're just not jumping into that trade overnight.
Yeah. I mean, it is an unusual situation where you've got this standoff between different levels of government, the states against the Fed, right? So, and this is, I think, unprecedented in our lifetime for sure. Not since the Civil War have we seen this kind of division, but this is really more of a political standoff than a standoff involving citizens, except for the people coming in the convoy. But I don't think that that's going to erupt into anything too destabilizing.
No, what I see happening is that the governor of Texas is trying to slap Joe Biden to do the right thing, right? He's not doing the right thing. He's not doing anything at all.
Yeah.
Right. So they're going to get in gear, obviously, because, it's just the way it's done. They're going to get in gear, but it's not going to help them at all in the next election. Everybody knows what Trump's agenda is, and that is to close the borders and send them all home, right?
Yeah.
You're here illegally.
Yeah. And no matter how they try to hype this up, this is really what it's about. I think this is the first step in making this like one of the major election issues. That's what this is.
Well, it seems to be an issue not just in North America with Canada and the United States. It's an issue in Europe too, right?
It is.
You look at Britain; they're whining. Everybody's whining, right?
Yep.
I wish the world would be like a bunch of birds and you could just migrate anywhere that you wanted to, right? But there's laws. I can't go to the States. If I go to the States, I'm going to get tied up at the border, literally. Right. It probably won't be three months before you hear from me on Maverick News. Believe me, I want to go to the States. Got Detroit Lions and going to the Super Bowl here. Come on. It's never happened in my life, right? But for the things that I've done in life, I'm not allowed in the US. So it is what it is. And I know if I cross the border, I'm going to Wayne County immigration. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So, I can't cross. Maybe I feel bitter. Maybe I should be allowed to cross, but oh well, it is what it is. It's not like I can go over to the States and do crime. Their crime laws are a lot different than ours. They hand out basketball scores.
Yeah.
You do something that seems minor. There's still guys in the U.S. that are in prison for pot. Right? And pot's legal in many of the states, right? So, it is what it is. But I wouldn't worry too much, folks. Everybody watching Maverick and other media sources, it's pure entertainment. I'm not going to get bent out of shape about the Texas border or the Roxham Road border. There's going to be an end to it, that's for sure. And the only way you could do that is vote in your right government that's going to represent you.
Yeah.
But to try and shut down the government, no. That's like an animated cartoon series by Rick Walker and the Maverick Group. Okay, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't want it to happen. I like my hydro on. I like my gas on. You take out the government and everybody else with the government. Who's going to keep your gas on? Who's going to keep your hydro on? This, you're living in a fantasy world.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's just a good thing we've got Cosmo, the super canine knight, on our side, because he sniffs out the corruption.
That's hilarious. When I see that, my son, he orders books all the time from Amazon. There's like books that you're doing right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's got a whole library since he was 11 years old. He's 18 now, and he still buys the books.
Yeah.
Right. Different series, but it's all animated like your show that you just showed. And, he's got to have at least 200 books. I had to buy him a bookshelf for Christmas. That's how many books he's got, right? And it's filled. He needs another one. So, there's a market for that, Rick. Really,
yeah,
there
is. Yeah. Well, maybe we'll do something with it.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Okay, you get to your next caller, sir. But go Lions, go! Everybody out there, it is America's team right now. They are the underdogs. They've never been to the Super Bowl. They win today. The last time they've won a championship, people that are listening, there was a guy named Ike who was the president of the United States in 1953. That's the last time the Lions have been this far.
Wow.
So I'm excited. Excited.
Well, I'm happy for you.
It's an exciting day, buddy. Have a good day, Rick.
Thanks, Leo. See ya.
Bye.
All right, I'll be right back after this. Don't go away.
Fighting the Great Reset by leading the Great Resistance. Maverick News. The antivirus programs for your mind.
Join the conversation. Call 1-833-975-3733. That's 1-833-975-FREE. Speak up. Speak out. Make your voice heard. Maverick News. Fighting for freedom by defending your right to free speech. Be a Maverick. Join us.
That's right. Call now. 1-833-975-3733. This operator is standing by.
Feel the vibrations. Our quest continues. The truth is out there. We are Mavericks.
ET, call home. And we're going to let John call in right now. Hello, John. Sir John.
You're on reverb here. Turn it down. The timing's off. How's it going there, man? How's your day?
It's pretty good. My wife is not feeling well though. So
oh boy.
Yeah. She's
My
So
friend,
I'm like, stay away, stay away.
my friend on the reserve, his wife wasn't feeling well last week. Cold. They took her to the hospital actually because she was so bad. And now he's sick. So eat your Wheaties, man. What can I tell you?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep my distance without making it look like I don't care. I do care,
Yeah, you're gonna.
but I don't want to get sick. So
Yeah, you don't want to get sick. That's how you. Yeah, you got to be careful. My day today is terrible, Rick. Terrible. Everything's going wrong for me. I don't know what the
that's what
hell.
I
Should have
hear.
stayed in bed. What?
Is
Oh,
it-
the stove went on the blinks, and I ended up taking all the fuses out to see which one is blown, or the two of the last week the burner on the bottom went in the oven, so I called this guy up. He delivered one for me and threw it in, and works fine. And then the fuse, the two burners on the top wouldn't work, and I go, what the, open the fuse box, and I'm checking the fuses, and I finally got it working. I don't know. And all kinds of other shit today. Everything's going bad today. Today's a bad day for me. Yeah, you know, everybody has those days that you just wish you never got out of bed, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Nothing but problems, you know? It's just,
Well,
nothing works out.
Well, what do you think about the border situation in Texas?
Texas, I think it's a joke, and they're not going to change their ways. Like, Democrats want an open border. Hillary wants an open border. So I don't know how they're going to shut it down. Trump's not going to do nothing. You know, I seen him yesterday was on. Oh, he's talking big shit like, oh, he actually did it last time. He's going to have a new security team to round up all the immigrants and send them back. But he can't do that. Maybe the bad ones that been arrested and stuff, you know, troublemakers. But he can't round up immigrants and send them back. It's against the law, you know.
Yeah.
So he talks a big show, but you know, last time he was in office, he did the same thing. I forget what he called them. It was they got rid of it now, obviously. But he did send a lot of people back, but there were those people with the marks on their face, whatever they're called. Yeah, those kind of people that he sent back.
Yeah.
But you know, he said he was going to build the wall, and they were stopping him. He couldn't build it, you know, because of the politics. It's all politics. I'm waiting for the next election here in Canada. That's all I'm waiting for. I'm fed up, you know. Too many problems we have, and it's nothing's going to get resolved. The only way that we're going to resolve is, like Leo said, an election. We need a new government, and that's the only way things are going to get resolved. We need the right government.
Yeah.
And I really think, Poilievre, you never played that clip today, eh? I woke up this morning, and he was on live. You should play that clip for everybody. It's a real good one today.
Okay.
He gave an interview. Yeah, he gave a really good interview today, and very impressive what he said. Really good one. Like that guy's pretty swift. He knows what to say there, Rick. But
yeah, he's very
find
sharp. Great speaker, sharp wit. What clip are you referring to? Or like I don't know.
Today he played it. Today he was this morning at 10 o'clock.
Was he being interviewed somewhere or speaking somewhere?
I think he was talking about the bloc. How they support Trudeau.
Mm-hmm.
and they're making things worse. You got to listen to it. It was a good one.
I'm on his account right now. I'm not seeing anything that matches that. I see.
I seen it on CP24.
Okay.
CP24 this morning. That's where I seen it. I guess, yeah. But it very impressive what he said today. Today was a real good. Who's that?
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't see that current clip, but.
Well, maybe it'll be posted tomorrow. Because they are at some retreat or something, aren't they? Somewhere like that.
Oh, he was speaking to his caucus. That's what it was. Yeah, I was aware of that. I'll take a look. Maybe we'll get to it before the end of the broadcast.
Or tomorrow. Yeah, but it's a real good one. Hey, you didn't send me nothing yet, eh?
No, not yet, because I have to pick them up from the shirt place. So I certainly will.
I don't know if I like those shirts, Rick. Maybe just send me a sweater or hoodie or something. Fuck.
Yeah, I'll send.
Hoodie.
Sure, I'll send you some stuff.
I'm not a shirt guy. But
what do you do? Just walk around showing your pecs all the time?
You got one. You got one on right now.
I have a shirt on. I think I've got some of these ones too. These are a little bit different. These are short sleeve.
Yeah, like the golf shirt.
I don't have any golf shirts in double extra large right now. I will get some eventually, but I don't have any yet. That's the problem, John. I just don't have a lot of double extra large stuff.
Well, take your time. I'm in no rush.
Yeah,
I got. I like the t-shirts though, man. The ones that those t-shirts are nice. I can wear those there 7 days a week. Just put another new one on. Just put a new one every 2 days.
Okay.
Well, I don't go out much, so.
Sure.
But anyhow, that interview, if you can find it, I wouldn't mind hearing it again too, because it was a good one today.
Okay.
And I think it should people should hear it.
I will see if I can find a clip or two from it for folks before we sign off.
He sold me, and he's running down the block saying, "You're the problem. You're the problem. Why we're paying 3 times more for groceries, for higher fuel. People can't buy houses." He was on a podium when he was saying this. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think it was in Quebec. He was speaking French too. So, but there was translation going on. So he's probably in Quebec somewhere.
No, I've got it. I've got the speech here now.
Oh, you found it? Good.
I did. Yep, I've got it.
Yeah, that's a good one. You should hear it. Okie dokie. Sure. We'll talk to you another time.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
I appreciate the call, John. Good to talk to you too, sir.
Okay.
Ciao for now, Brown Cow. All right. Let's drop that. And I will bring up that speech of Poilievre for you guys, since John tells us it's a great little speech. So let's just tune into a little bit of that, shall we? Let me run this, and I'll come back and we'll run a bit of that for you on the other side. Hang on, I'll be right back after this.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Merci beaucoup.
Okay, here he is.
Wow. Wow, merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup, tout le monde. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup, équipe Gros Bon Sens. Merci beaucoup, équipe Gros Bon Sens. Vous me semblez être dans une très bonne forme. Oui. Évidemment, comme la plupart des Canadiens, vous êtes restés avec des amis pour 9 000 $ la nuit à un resort. C'est comme la plupart des Canadiens qui font ça, selon notre premier ministre. Mais pour être vrai, je pense qu'une telle resort de 9 000 $ la nuit ou 80 000 $ pour une semaine.
Hang on, let me get you to the English. We'll get you to the English. Wow, he talks a lot of French. Here we go.
Aéroport. Mais c'est encore pire maintenant parce qu'elles vivent avec ses parents et la famille en total doit dépenser 16 000 $ de plus pour leur hypothèque à cause des hausses d'intérêt que les déficits inflationnistes de Justin Trudeau ont causés. Il n'en vaut pas le coût de nourriture, il n'en vaut pas le coût de l'essence, il n'en vaut pas le coût de logement après 8 ans. Et ça coûte cher à voter pour le Bloc. Les communautés sont maintenant en...
Holy smokes. Is he ever going to get to the English? Here we go. Here we go. All right, promise. Now we're getting to the English. Honest.
Qui achète de bonne nourriture, essence, et logements abordables dans des rues sécuritaires. C'est comme ça que le Canada a toujours été. C'est comme ça que ça va l'être après un gouvernement de gros bon sens ait permis de faire un bon travail comme serviteur de ce pays. C'est ça le gros bon sens. C'est ce que nous allons faire. Donc, faisons-le. Merci.
And then we're going to get to the English. Okay? Now English. Guaranteed. Don't tune out. He's coming. Here it comes.
Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup, chers amis.
See how much harder politics is in Canada?
So everyone looks like they're in great shape. You're all just back from your $9,000 a night stay with friends, like most Canadians, right? That's what our prime minister said. Can you imagine that? He said, like most Canadians, I stayed with friends. And an $89,000 vacation for free from friends. Wow, geez, I think I have the wrong friends. Actually, I have the best friends in the world. And they'll let me sleep on the couch once in a while if necessary. But I think most Canadians would feel a long way from home if they had an $89,000 vacation, wouldn't they? But everything feels a long way from home right now, doesn't it? You know, when people stop me on the streets, they tell me they don't recognize the country. I met a lady who immigrated here from Punjab just yesterday at the airport. And she said to me, where is my Canada? What happened to this place? Used to be that she lived safe in her neighborhood. She could earn a decent living, buy a house, raise her kids with nutritious food. But now she's worried she might lose her home altogether. And she didn't say so, but I think that she's eating at a food bank. That was only minutes after I spoke to a 28-year-old. I had previously seen her as a CATSA screener a few months ago. She then told me she had done the calculation based on her monthly savings, that it was going to take her well into her 40s to make her first down payment on a home. And of course, let's be honest, she said her biological clock is ticking. She wants to start a family, something that's not easy living in her parents' basement. Today, though, her problem was different and new, but related. Not only is she living in her parents' basement, but she has to help the family pay the mortgage, which has gone up by $15,000 a year. So now, not only is she worried about whether she'll ever own a home, she's worried that her parents with whom she lives might not be able to keep that home. That's life after 8 years of Justin Trudeau. After 8 years of Justin Trudeau, everything costs more, with the worst inflation in 40 years. After 8 years of Justin Trudeau promising debt was consequence-free because interest rates were low, they've shot up in the fastest relative terms in Canadian history, and they are a direct result of his deficit spending. After 8 years of Trudeau, work doesn't pay. You make it, he takes it. After 8 years of Trudeau, housing costs have doubled. The needed rent has doubled. The needed down payment for your average home doubled. The average mortgage payment for a new home doubled. And before we go again blaming the rest of the world for some phenomenon that is out of his control, let us be very clear about this. The housing inflation in Canada is the worst or very close to the worst of any developed nation. Housing costs have risen 40% faster than incomes under Trudeau, which is by far the worst in the G7. It is the second worst in the OECD. It is double the OECD average. Many OECD countries have actually seen housing affordability improve over the last 8 years. This is not a problem that has been dropped on Justin Trudeau's lap. It is a problem that he created with his inflationary spending and by continually building up the local bureaucracies that block home building. He has made us the second slowest place to get a building permit on planet Earth, and it now costs as much as $1.3 million in governmental red tape and taxes alone for a newly built home in Vancouver, which, by the way, incidentally, is the third most overpriced housing market in the world, comparing average incomes to average house prices. We now have rental increases in Montreal, his home city, of 200%, triple. It used to cost about $750 to rent a place in Montreal when I was housing minister 8 years ago. Now it costs $2,200. This is astonishing. And his solution at his last big caucus retreat was to name media darling Sean Fraser to come to the rescue, to bombard the country with photo ops. And what has happened? Building has gone down by 7%. Actually building fewer homes with Sean Fraser than we were building with the previous nameless, incompetent minister that Trudeau had in charge of that file. And so the problem gets worse and worse. Housing is in decline. In 2022, we built fewer homes than we built in 1972, even though our population had more than doubled. That is the direct result of the bureaucracy that Justin Trudeau has built up over so many years. And now people who can't pay their rent are forced to go to food banks. 2 million people now going to food banks. 2 million, a record smashing number. In fact, in Toronto, 1 in 10 people are relying on food banks. The number of people eating at food banks in Toronto today would fill the Rogers Centre 7 times. That is life in Toronto after 8 years of Justin Trudeau winning every single seat in that city. Toronto, what have you got for voting for Justin Trudeau? Your streets are crawling with crime and chaos. You can't afford the rent. There's division like never before in our streets. Places of worship are under attack. People who've lived there all their lives no longer feel at home. The big cities that voted for Justin Trudeau are suffering the most because of his disastrous and costly policies. You know, look at the crime. Violent crime is up 40%. The number of overdose deaths is up 200%. 40,000 Canadians have lost their lives to overdoses after 8 years of Justin Trudeau's policy of decriminalizing crack and heroin and giving out tax-subsidized opioids that have heroin-level potency. After 8 years of Justin Trudeau, We have our young people at greater risk than ever before to fall into a life of drugs. Formerly peaceful neighborhoods are now dangerous. When I was in North Bay the other day, a man came to my town hall. He said, "I'm not interested in politics. I don't even typically vote. I just have one simple request. I want to take my kids to the restaurant in the center town of North Bay without getting stabbed in the face." That was his request. In small Northern Ontario towns, people used to leave their doors unlocked before Justin Trudeau brought in catch and release. And yet, there's been the NDP betraying Northern Ontario and Vancouver Island and the British Columbia interior, selling out their people, selling out the working class to support his policies of catch and release, of banning hunting rifles, of quadrupling the carbon tax and doubling housing costs. That is the misery that they have helped bring about. And is it getting any better? In fact, our economy is now shrinking in absolute terms. In per capita terms, it has shrunk in all of the last 6 quarters. We have had the worst per capita GDP growth of any G7 country, meaning smaller paychecks and more desperation for our people. Investment per worker is in drastic decline, meaning that American workers get almost twice the investment of tools and technology of an average Canadian worker. And our jobs move south of the border and into the hands of more powerful economy where our workers lose out. But the good news is life wasn't like this before Justin Trudeau, and it won't be like this after he's gone. Canadians are hardworking, decent, honorable people. They don't have to live like this. They don't have to give up the things they used to take for granted, like affordable food and homes in safe neighborhoods. They don't have to give up those things for the incompetence and ego of one man. We can do better. And we will do better with a common sense plan. And we're going to give people a very simple choice in the next election. On the one hand, you will have a costly coalition of Justin Trudeau and the NDP that take your money, tax your food, punish your work, double your housing costs, and unleash crime and chaos in your community. Or you can have the common sense conservatives who will axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime. That's the choice. And that is what we will fight for in this session. Let me be very clear, and let me say it again and again. Conservatives will fight throughout this session to axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, stop the crime. Is everybody in this room ready to axe the tax, build the homes, fix the budget, and stop the crime? Now, we all know that axing the tax, building the homes, fixing the budget, and stopping the crime requires a common sense plan. And it just so happens that's exactly what we have, right? A common sense plan that will bring home lower prices by axing the carbon tax, a tax that Justin Trudeau and the NDP want to quadruple to 61 cents a liter. We will take it off entirely, everywhere. We'll start this session with a relentless focus on passing Bill C-234 to take the carbon tax off our farmers. We know that lowering the carbon tax not only saves us money when we gas up and heat our homes, but we take that tax off the farmers and truckers who bring our food we can afford to eat again. We're going to cap government spending and cut government waste to balance the budget and bring down inflation and interest rates. How do we do that? Well, we get rid of the $35 billion infrastructure bank that has not completed a single solitary project. The $1 billion green slush fund, 15% of whose funds are already identified as having been misappropriated and mismanaged by corruption, something that the bureaucrats say resembles the sponsorship scandal. We'll get rid of the $54 million ArriveCan app. We'll cut back on the $21 billion of external consultants. That works out to $1,400 in taxes for every family in Canada just to pay for external consultants, 100% increase in 8 years. We will get rid of that waste, and we will bring the work inside the bureaucracy at a lower price to Canadians. We will bring in and we will cut back on the money that is sent out of this country to other places. Trudeau's been funding foreign terrorists and dictators, calling it aid. He gave money to UNRWA, right? We warned what would happen if you gave money to UNRWA. We cut the funds for UNRWA when we were in government. And what happened? Justin Trudeau funded the same organization whose members helped carry out the genocidal October 7th attack. Justin Trudeau should be ashamed of himself for the way that he has spent our money to fund this terrorist organization. And we will not only cut back that, we will stop funding the Beijing-controlled Asian Infrastructure Bank. We should be building pipelines and roads in Canada, not in Asia. And we will cap government spending using a common sense law. It comes from single mothers and small businesses. It's called the dollar for dollar law. If we bring in $1 more of spending in one place, we will by law be required to find $1 of savings somewhere else to pay for it. This is how families budget and pay for things. And that's why families understand that budgets don't balance themselves. It's common sense. This law will allow us to cap spending while the economy and the taxpayer catches up so that we can balance the budget and bring down inflation and interest rates on our people. And our people deserve to have their work rewarded. We need to end the war on work, where a mother of three who earns an extra $1 loses 80 cents to clawbacks and taxes. That is outrageous. No wonder we have a hard time getting more workers. We punish work. A common sense conservative government will lower income tax and reform clawbacks so people bring home more of each dollar that they earn, and hard work once again pays off in this country. We will bring home powerful paychecks for our brilliant immigrants. We've had a red seal in the trades for 70 years. Every province has accepted a national standard for the trades in order to allow people to prove their qualifications and travel across the country working freely. In the professions, however, our brilliant immigrants and our Canadian-born kids who study medicine abroad are shut out. The saying in Toronto these days is, if you have a heart attack, don't call 911, call an Uber, because the likelihood is the driver is a doctor, right? Our common sense plan is to have a national merit-based test that people can take in a couple of months so they can prove they're qualified, get to work, and we can have more doctors, more nurses, better paychecks for our people. And speaking of paychecks, we're going to remove the government gatekeepers that were created by C-69 that blocks our resource sector. We're going to bring it home. We're going to bring it home. Justin Trudeau wants the lithium for electric cars to be mined and refined by China, burning coal. He wants the oil to come from Saudi Arabia and Venezuela, on which he just recently lifted sanctions as they block key candidates for running in that election. He wants the paycheck. He wants, instead of paychecks going to Canadian plumbers, Canadian pipe fitters, Canadian trades workers. He wants the money to fund Putin's war machine by directing natural gas sales to that country. Common sense conservative governments will approve our resource projects. We will repatriate the production and paychecks to this country. We will turn dollars for dictators into paychecks for our people in this country. Bring it home. 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 We're going to bring it home, my friends. We're going to bring it home to our people in this country once again, and we're going to bring homes to our people. We have the fewest homes per capita in all of the G7, even though we have by the far the most land to build on. This is insane. You know, it used to be the average mortgage payment on a brand new home was $1,400 when I was the minister. Now it's $3,500. The average rent $900 when I was minister. Now it's about $2,000. This is insane. Our housing is now 25 to 45% more expensive than the Americans, even though they have 8 times the population on a smaller landmass. Why? Bureaucracy blocks home building. It now takes 7 years to get a building permit. This adds enormous costs to each built home. $1.2 million for a new home built in Vancouver is just government. It's the biggest cost, more than land, labor, and lumber. Our common sense plan is going to bring results-based financing. Realtors are paid for the number of homes they build. Excuse me, realtors are paid for the number of homes they sell. Builders are paid for the number of homes they build. I want the local bureaucracies to be paid for the number of homes they permit. I want them to be incentivized every day in every way to free up land and speed up permits so that our builders can build. We will require cities permit 15% more home building per year as a condition of getting financing from the federal infrastructure programs. They beat the target, they get a bonus. They miss the target, they pay a fine. We'll require every federally funded transit station have high-density apartments all around and even on top, so seniors and students live next to the bus and train. We'll sell off 6,000 federal buildings, thousands of acres of federal land to build, and we will require CMHC-approved financing for apartment complexes in 2 months, not 2 years. If the executives don't hit the target, by law, they will be fired. Common sense. Those homes will be in safe neighborhoods. We will end Justin Trudeau's catch and release system, which has unleashed crime and chaos in our communities. He has allowed the same 40 violent offenders to be arrested 6,000 times in Vancouver because they were released within mere minutes. The criminal is out before the police do the paperwork these days. We're going to stop the crime by stopping the criminals. Very simple. The root cause of crime is criminals. Put the criminals in jail, you have less crime. It will be jail, not bail. Jail, not bail for repeat violent offenders. We will bring in treatment and recovery to bring home our loved ones drug-free. Yes, bring them home drug-free. Now, that's a hopeful message because we love our brothers and sisters who suffer from this illness, and we want to help them overcome the illness and have good lives, raising families, building our economy. That is the compassionate and the right thing to do. And the right thing to do as well is to stand on the side of the law-abiding, licensed firearms owners who are statistically proven to be the least likely to commit a crime with a gun. We will reverse Trudeau's ban on our sport shooters and our hunters, and we will instead go after the real gun criminals. We will reinforce the borders, and we will inspect and scan the shipping containers to stop our automobiles from being shipped out of this country to faraway places by thieves and criminals. You know, I know I've gone on too long. I just want to tell one quick story. One quick story. So I'm in Brampton. We sit down with these business leaders. They come in. The guy says, wake up in the morning, my car's stolen. So good news is I put an air tag in it. He says, so I followed the air tag and it took me all the way to a rail yard. So he jumped the fence and he followed the app on his phone. He got to a shipping container that was on a train. And he said, well, there's my car. It's in that shipping container. Well, some authorities came running over and he said, oh, thank God you're here. You were there up front for this. He said, thank God you're here. You can help me get my car out of that shipping container. And they said, no. You're not supposed to be here. We're charging you a fine. And then as he was being assessed the fine, the rail cars started moving and they went to Montreal. The shipping container got on a boat and was shipped off to the Middle East. So he lost his car and paid a fine for trying to get it back. Another guy the same day told us, you were there for this too. He got up in the morning, his car was gone. So he called 911 and they said, well, we're not going to be there for a while because it's a very busy day in Brampton. And he's looked out the window and he said, they're back. They're stealing my second car. And so he says, well, I'm going to go out and get them. He said, no, don't do that. Well, then you come here now and stop them. They said, no, we've got so much going on today. It's going to be 45 minutes before we arrive. Just let them take the car. That's how insane it is. But good news is Justin Trudeau's holding a summit. A big summit. There's going to be another meeting. Thank God. Politicians and bureaucrats and lobbyists will all come together. They'll send you the bill for their hotel rooms. Don't worry. There's a summit happening. My friends, we don't need another summit. We need a common sense plan to end the theft and stop the crime. And that is what conservatives will do. We're going to reverse the censorship law. We're going to stand up for the freedom. We're going to hold this government accountable for illegally taking away our civil rights in this country. We're going to live in a country, you know, I said we're a long way from home, and we are. It's a very long way from home in only 8 years of Trudeau. So it's easy to forget how good things were and how much better they can be. So let's paint the picture of what home looks like. Home is seniors having reliable retirements that buy them affordable food, able to carry their groceries safely down the street, walking past children who are able to play openly in the neighborhoods with their parents only worried about getting them bathed into bed on time, not worried about their safety or whether they'll have a roof over their head. Home is a young person getting their degree or certificate, knowing that their hard work will soon mean they and their true life will have a roof over their head and a place to start their family. Home is a place that judges people based on their work and their merit, not their race or their connections to government. Home is a place where government is servant and not master, where the people are in charge and the leaders have the humility to do the job for them. Home is a place where the government minds its own business and does its basic job well, while allowing free people to fulfill their full potential. Home is common sense, the common sense of the common people united for our common home. Your home, my home, our home. Let's bring it home. Thank you.
And my microphone was muted. So that's the speech from Pierre Poilievre that John wanted us to hear. There you have it. The question is, do you believe him? Some people do, some people don't. A lot of people have come to the conclusion that he's Canada's best hope at the moment. Maybe Canada's only hope. We'll see what happens in the next election. It's got to happen by 2025, sometime in 2025. I think we'll be going to the polls. My prediction, in the fall. Justin Trudeau will probably call the election to piggyback on the U.S. election and use the emotions that are going to rise to a fever pitch, I'm afraid, when Trump squares off against Biden. And I think regardless of the lawfare and all the other stuff going on, that is likely what we are going to see. And I think the streets will be a place of chaos over the summer, the fall, heading into the next presidential election in the United States. But there is hope. At least we still have elections. And tonight, I think that there is at least enough calm at that Texas-Mexico border that these predictions of a civil war, I don't see it happening. Not right now, not over this. Not to say that we aren't out of the woods, but this will not be the incident that sparks a civil war. Could develop into that over time, but I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow. So sleep easy tonight, or easier. Enjoy your families. Enjoy your freedom, what's left of it. We'll keep fighting for it tomorrow, when I join you back here again at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.